Hello, folks. This episode is my last-ditch effort to point out the realities of free agent and auction players. I see people fixating on particularly free agent players constantly, and you really need to understand what you're getting into with these players so you don't hold them to such high regard. I've already pointed out in other videos some of the numbers behind it, so some of you are already familiar with the fact that free agent and auction players are not the best deal in this game, but I'll point out a couple of other things and why they are, what they are useful for, and then we'll actually walk into, look at some numbers and reiterate for people who aren't familiar with it why they don't stack up. So let's jump into the store. First of all, I'll point out the fact that everything I'm going to talk about holds true for both auction and free agent players. Except that auction players, there are golds as well, so we'll revisit that in just a second. So, benefits of using free agent or auction are very limited. They are, one, you know exactly what you're getting. So if I needed a shortstop for the Angels, then Ivar here might be a reasonable choice for me. Two, when you flip over and look at their skills, A, you know what you're getting, and B, there's always going to be, I've never seen a case where there hasn't been at least one gold skill. And quite commonly, actually, you get two gold skills. So you can actually get very explicit about what skills you want to target on your pitchers. And I hadn't noticed this earlier, but Corbin here has two excellent skills for a starter. So those skills might be good enough to carry him past the fact that he's going to be deficient in the other way that I'm about to show you. Okay, so why are they not a good deal? Let's start off with a comparison of gold players. Let's take a look at Vasquez here. If we tap on his numbers and look at his grade increase line and add that together, 11 and 9 is 20, then 31, 37, 37 and 4, 41. So he's got a total grade increase of 41. Okay. If you know gold cards, you know that they're going to come in the range of, what is it, 35 to 50. So 41 is not the absolute bottom. In fact, for these gold cards, it's actually one of the better ones. But nonetheless, it is not the 50, and you will never see a grade 50 gold card from this auction. And this also holds true similarly over to the diamonds. But let's continue our exercise. Adding these lines together, we got a 6 and 6 at 12, plus a 10, 22, plus a 9, 31, and plus a 7 is 38. So we got a 38 on Arroyo there. Not close to 50 that you could potentially get with a regular card. So also a deficient player. Let's see, I believe in all the tracking I've ever done, I've seen the range to be from 32 to 42 for all the ones that I've actually added together and taken note of. Now, if we go into my collection, hopefully I have some regular diamonds to compare to. And by the way, for starters, our pitching and batters, those are going to be the same. So let's see. I have a whole bunch of primes here, but a very limited selection of non-primes. I'm going to select a signature card, and if you watch my other videos, you'll know that these cards are essentially the same as a normal card. So we can use this as an example, as a valid example. And if you're not familiar with that, I encourage you to go ahead and watch my video about signature cards. But nonetheless, if I add the grade increased line on here, there's a pretty good chance that this total is going to be higher than either of those auction cards we saw. Hopefully I picked a good example for us. So 8 and 8 is 16 plus 6 makes that 22. 22 and 9 is 31. 31 and 5 is, nope, that's not a good example. 36 because that's lower. But he could potentially get up to a 50. And how about Pedroia? I think Pedroia is also a bad example. I've got to have a good example in here somewhere. You got 33 off the 10 pluses, and 41, and 49. Okay, here we go, 49. He's almost a 50. So Pedroia here is a good example. You will never see a gold auction card as good as this Pedroia. Assuming it was a base card. You'd never see a signature card in auction, but nonetheless, that's beside the point. Okay, same thing holds true when we look at diamonds, except the range is slightly different. If we look at the diamond players in free agent, once again, also true for auction, and we crack open one of the numbers here and we add together that line, we've got 50 off of the 10s, and then we have 2 3s, and 6 and a 4. That's another 10, so that's 60, and 2 1s, that makes 62. He is a grade 62, which is the top. This is the best possible free agent grade increase you can see. For Perez here, got 40, 50, 57. 57. And by the way, if you were to pull a diamond out of a prem pack or out of a combo, or some other pack, other way of getting a diamond, the minimum grade you're going to see off of that is a 60. So Perez here is a good example that he came out as a 57, and the worst you're going to see out of a prem pack or a combo is a grade 60. So this is already illustrating that these cards are always going to be inferior. And our last one here is 50, 59, 61. So he's a 61. It's almost the top for a free agent card. Okay, so I'll close out this video with the chart showing you what the grade ranges are for the various cards. But reiterating, you know what you're getting if you choose a free agent card, and you know what skills you're going to have, and the skills are generally pretty good. So you could select a good set of skills, but otherwise you're going to deal with a card that almost always has a lower grade rating on it than other cards you would see out of combos or out of packs. One last thing before we go. I have maxed out my free agent bar, so if I were to want Perez here, which I don't, I'm not going to go through with this. First of all, notice the flashing bar down here underneath the card. That indicates that I have maxed that out, which means if I were to use this free agent ticket, I would automatically land him. What happens is it starts out empty, and each time you attempt a signing, you have roughly a 10% chance of moving that bar along, and it seems to me like that percent chance to move the bar along decreases as it gets closer to 100%. So initially you probably move it pretty quickly up to like 50%, and then from 50% to 100%, it starts to take a lot longer to move that thing along. So with that in place, I get to specifically choose which free agent card I want. At this point, I get very, very picky about the free agent that I want. For myself, unless I see a Boston player with a perfect set of skills, I won't be taking them, and even then, I have pretty much all the Boston players I want, so I'll probably choose a first baseman because I'm making combos hoping to land a prime Adrian Gonzalez. So I'll probably take a diamond first baseman. Otherwise, under the entire list on the right there, those are the rewards you're potentially going to see for each ticket that you use, or each time you pay 300. It can take people 100 plus tries, work out the math on that, and that's really, really horrible rate. So that, I guess, is a third thing that makes them not desirable to pursue. Okay, that's a lot of talking for a really simple answer that the grade increase sucks on these things, and you're generally going to be overpaying for them. So unless you absolutely need a very specific player, please do not pump stars into auction or free agent players. Okay, that said, if you have managed to land a good one, tell me what they are in the comments below. Tell me what skills they have on there, and tell me what your grade increase range is. In particular, if you have a grade increase range for a diamond that is out of the range of 52 to 62, let me know. And for gold players, I believe it's 32 to 42. If you have a card from auction or free agent, specifically, nobody else, that has a grade increase range outside of those, please let me know in the comments. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next episode, hopefully. Bye now.